Hi, I'm Rashid Okunlori, coach, speaker and author. I want to talk a little bit about seeing your magic, knowing that you are magic and knowing that you are a manifestation of life's magic. I remember 2 or 3 years into being a coach, and when I started out coaching, people used to come here to see me at the coaching studio for their sessions. And one of the things that I realised after a while was that, most people would come to me and they'd be wanting to achieve X in their life, or Y in their career, or Z in their relationships, whatever it might well be, or A within themselves. And there'd always be some kind of notion that somehow either they weren't good enough or that they could be better. That's really the whole setup of how we live our lives. Could be more, could be better, whatever, in some way, shape or form. And even that could be less, could be better, being slimmer, being bigger, whatever it might well be. Being wiser, being whatever. And after a couple of years of hearing these stories, I didn't see the person who people were describing to me. All I could see was this magical person who was sat in front of me all the time. This magical singer, performer, this magical professional office worker, this magical mum, this magical dad, this magical friend, this magical chief executive, this magical lawyer, you name it. And this is quite significant, isn't it? The other bit that's significant about, so the first thing is about that, it's so important for us to begin to see our strengths. Do we actually see ourselves as we actually are? Are we actually getting that feedback? Are we believing the story that people have told us about ourselves, or that we generate toward ourselves? And so I have a saying that, is your life story the truth? Yes. Is it the whole truth? No. Is it nothing but the truth? No. So it's truth, it's a series of events, that bit's true. Is it the whole truth? No, because other people have got a different perspective and you tend to see it from a perspective, or sometimes from one or two perspectives. Is it nothing but the truth? No, because you don't have complete knowledge of everything that pertains to life. And because you tend to believe in just that one element of that perspective. So for me, what's really important is then to begin to see your magic. And why is that to be really important? Because for you to bring forth that fullness of who you are, that's going to really help. And so there's a gentle paradox here. On the one hand, there is this notion that you're not good enough, and you are good enough. But then the question is that sometimes all the stuff that it is that you are believing about yourself is sometimes limiting you from the fullness of you just being and breathing and sharing your magic in the world. So there comes a point where it's really important to see your magic. So again, going back to the case of all the people who'd see me, I would bring all to their attention the things that they already had. What are the gifts they already have? What's the point in life of spending so much time focusing on the things that we don't have, when we're overlooking all the things that we have? I mean, it's a bit like being at home and the shops are closed and there's no way of getting things. And then why are we focusing on what's there? Let's look at what's in the cupboards within. There might be so much. And that's the case. What's the magic that it is that you actually have? What are the gifts that you have? And that's my invitation for you. I want to sit down. I want you to write that down. What are the gifts you have? What are the things that you're great at? It might be very subtle. For me in my own life, I remember one of the very first times I realised it, I was in my early 20s at work, and I was asked to do a more senior job. I didn't think I had the confidence to do it. And then I realised that I had really good people skills. I was really great with people. I could talk to people. I could convince people to do various things that was really important in my job, because I worked in the field of media and promotion. So I had to persuade people to do interviews, to talk to media and to talk to journalists and to do this and to do that. I had that skill. Other people didn't have that skill. So I then came to realise that was a very, very powerful skill. Whatever your skill, it might be a technical skill, it may well be an emotional skill, it might be that you have a creative skill, it might be you have a whole blend of skills. It's very, very, very key that you see those skills, that you begin to see the magic that you have. So that's my invitation to you. What's the magic that you have? If you're unsure, seek out those people who love and care about you and ask them what's the magic that you have. I'm amazed when I do lots of workshops and talks within all sorts of different organisations. I do all sorts of exercises where I get people to share what their gifts are, and I'm stunned how regularly that people can't see their magic. And this will include people who've done years of professional development, years of personal development. Sometimes it's still not there. Sometimes it's still not there. So what we're really talking about there here, as always, is beginning to connect with your heart. I'm not talking about knowing what your strengths are from purely some egoic point of view. No, I'm talking about from this very heart-centered point of view, that you can really act from heart, do what it is that you love, use your magic, live by your magic, and share your magic. And as you go on this journey of beginning to explore, rediscover, or realize the depth of the magic that you have, then you can ask yourself, okay, well, where is it that I'm sat in life? I'm in a place where I'm living life from my gifts, from my talents, or am I not? If you're not, then maybe there's some area of your life in which you are using those talents. Could you bring those even more into your day-to-day? How could you bring that magic even more into the day-to-day? Well, maybe it's being a little bit more creativity into your life. Maybe it's a bit more sharing or connecting with people more in the workplace, because actually you're an interactive kind of person. How is it you can bring a little bit more of that magic into your personal life, into your home life? I wish you all the best as you go on this journey of discovering your magic, and thank you so much for tuning into this talk. See you soon. Bye-bye.